They say I wouldn't do it like I won't. They say I couldn't do it and they feel. They say I wouldn't do it and I fold. They say I couldn't do it and I did. I'm a champion. I'm a champion.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Talk and Walk podcast, show where we dive into the stories, journeys and inside of, the most inspiring figures in sports, life, business and beyond. Today we are honoured to have the also here, Pauli. He's born for greatness, that's why his parents named him twice. It's an honour to have you also. Also that's no stranger to adversity. We look forward to, diving deep into his journey on how he's, reached the top, played NRL for multiple clubs. Now he's here with his beautiful family, 2 kids, playing here in the Super League, and now he's with us in Doncaster. So we look forward to, diving into his journey.
Up the Rovers.
And going from there. Welcome, Uso.
Thanks for socks.
Nice.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank God for this opportunity, man, and thank the brothers for having me on. It's been a massive blessing to be here and share a bit about myself, but grateful for everything that's been done here today. So,
I think it's the honour and the pleasure is ours also. You got an awesome story, and once we heard it, there's a few things that will be good for you to share. And when we talk about being vulnerable, man, what a beautiful thing it is, and just to show people, you're 7 foot, 8'8", eh? But when you show vulnerability, man, just because you're a big boy, eh? But thanks for coming, Us. But before we move forward, chicken 321 fams, it's something that we do in all our podcasts, and we encourage people to speak up and show vulnerability, but we also encourage people to check in, and this helps the check-in process. And we often, when we check in surface level, but this helps to kind of bring the walls down and go a bit deeper. And FAM is an acronym. F stands for family, A stands for activity, and M stands for mindset. And all it is given a rating of 0 to 5, 5 being good, and just see where we're at. So we'll do a check-in first also. First of all, how's the family?
Yeah, family's good. It's been going very well, man, especially the last 2 years. So, man, we're in a very good space at the minute, mentally.
Yeah.
And, man, we're just happy.
What's your rating?
5.
5. Nice. That's a good rating also. Nice. Second one, activity. So how are your movements, and are you working out? Because we know how important it is when you work out, connects with the mindset. So how's the activity?
Yeah, definitely, man. I think, as you both know, the 8-week challenge we've been doing, man, I think that's been keeping us on a straight road, especially for me and Keisha.
Yeah.
Because I know Keisha goes through a lot of stuff mentally as well. But doing this challenge, man, has probably been the best thing for us as a family.
Yeah.
Our dietary needs, our training, especially the physical side of things, for rugby as well.
Yeah.
So it's just trying to show that to my kids, trying to implement it to my kids, so they can focus on doing that when they get older too. So.
No, 100%. And just to touch on that, he's mentioned the 8-week challenge. We're 5 weeks into an 8-week challenge. It's ourselves and a few other usos and their partners, and we started on January the 1st. And what it is no junk food, no soft drink, no vaping.
Alcohol.
Sorry?
No alcohol.
No alcohol. We have to do 45 minutes of training each day. 4 of that's got to be at the gym. 10 pages of a book each day. 10 minutes of meditation.
Yeah.
Am I missing anything else?
2 litres of water.
2 litres of water. And so that's the challenge. It's an 8-week challenge, and if one person fails, they have to buy lunch. Everyone has to buy everyone lunch. And also we have to start again. So in terms of accountability, that's massive, because if one fails, we all fail. Yeah. If one wins, we all win. So we're 5 weeks in, and man, what a transformation already, eh?
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah. It's been a good one for me, man. I remember putting my jersey on at the start of pre-season, and I still knew it was there. I couldn't fit my jersey in my pants in. 5 weeks later, man, My pants are about to fall off.
nearly seen the chopper. But wow, rude awakening just before the kickoff. Hey, Sully, pull your shorts up, man. I can't help it.
So obviously the rating's quite high then, eh? Cause,
5. It's a 5.
You can see, you can see you've lost a lot of weight, and you know you're doing really well. And you mentioned Keisha as well, so man, that's what it's all about, is supporting each other in our journey. And we knew it was going to be tough, but we're in it together. So, man,
well done.
Massive win for you.
What's probably been one of the hardest, part of doing the challenge, I guess?
Mine, probably the sugar.
Yeah.
Sugar was the main one, and vaping for me. I know vaping is probably my struggle.
Yeah.
I remember when I started the challenge, I had a headache for about 3-4 days, man, trying to stop vaping these. So, that's my main one.
Yeah.
But sugar, I think that comes after us all. I remember driving past the petrol station there because we got the special cheesecake. But that was a struggle for me as well. So those are the 2 main ones for me. So.
Nice. And last one, mindset. How's the mindset?
Yeah, mentally everything's well.
Yeah.
I give it a 5 as well. As I said, the last 2 years has probably been my best 2 years in over my 28 or 30 years.
Yeah.
I've been more mentally stable.
Yeah.
And being more mentally stable probably helped my family as well.
Yeah.
Keisha and the kids. I remember prior to doing all this 2 years ago, I used to be in a place where I wasn't really happy.
Yeah.
And it showed on my family. So man, I'll give it a 5 now. Over the last 2 years, it's been a great 2 years, man. So.
Nah, sicky, man. Thanks for sharing that, also. And we'll dive into how your mindset was prior to the 2 years, but just to hear that all 3 are 5s, you're doing well at the moment. Is massive for us, man. Massive for us to hear, and then, like I said before, man, we'll dive into before the 2 years. And we'll hear your story. So again, thank you for coming, also. Thank you for being vulnerable with the chicken as well. And that's all we can ask for.
No, thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, well, sort of just to get us, started. For those that don't know, where did your journey start from? Probably where you're born, and where's
my mum and dad came from Samoa, moved to New Zealand. Had my sister in New Zealand, and then I came after when they moved to Australia. I was born in Australia, raised there the whole entirety of my life. I come from a family of 9 of us.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of us in the household. And it's a great household, man. I grew up in a perfect home. We didn't have much when we were growing up, but it was a happy home and a steady home at the time, and still is prior. But I just thank God for getting me to where I am today. So.
Yeah. How was that growing up in a household of 9 siblings? Because man, that's a lot of
man. There's a lot of
no TV.
100%, man. I think my main worry was from my dad. My dad used to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I get ready, have his breakfast, and then he's out the door. Then having to come back home about 6 o'clock at night time, just to make sure that he put food on the table for us. So. And having that many kids in our household, it's not easy to feed that many kids, but he made it work. And I'm proud of my mum also, man, being able to take care of all of us. Man. At one time, man, it's not an easy job as a parent. I only have 2 at home, and I struggle with them. So I can only imagine what my mum went through at that time as we were growing up. But again, man, I'm grateful for what they've both done for us.
Yeah, man.
And
big
my
ups.
family, man.
Big
and
ups to your parents,
awesome, bro.
Yeah. And growing up, was rugby always something that you wanted to pursue?
Nah, rugby was never my first option. I think it was something that my mum and dad pushed me to do. I wanted to play volleyball at first. That was something that I was really interested in because I wanted to follow Dad. My dad's words were, you can't play volleyball because the money wasn't good at the time. So when he was playing, money was pennies at the 80s, 90s. It wasn't really that good.
Yeah.
But then coming this generation, man, the money for volleyball is really good. So I don't think they had the understanding of how the pay gap worked then at this time. But eventually, I ended up falling in love with the game.
Yeah.
At around age of 15, 16, that's when I found my love for the game, due to some circumstances that I went through.
Yeah.
But yeah, man,
It'll be good for you to
been
touch on, when you talk about the circumstances that you went through, and because there's always in anyone's journey, there's always that one time where you have to make a choice. Whether that choice will lead you down, a bad alleyway, or whether that then progresses your career. So it'll be good. It'll be good for you to touch on, those choices.
No, definitely. On that situation, man, part of a gang, which I'm not really proud of at the time. I was still young. I was 15 at that time, and it was me, my cousin, and my mate. We were going to do a debt collecting job. When we arrived to the place, I was just the lookout, the bystander, basically. As my cousin and my mate went to go knock on the door, all my job was to look out, make sure that nobody came and whatnot. But what I didn't know was the police was around the corner. When the police came around the corner, my cousin shouted to me, "Hey, make sure you go hide over there behind the car. Just be a bystander. Pretend like you're just a normal civilian and whatnot." And I did, man. I ran over, hid behind the car, and just started walking on the walkway. Anyways, the coppers came, grabbed them two, my cousin and my mate. But just in that situation right there, man, it just changed my whole life. Because seeing my cousin get arrested, man, it's just like, that could have been me. That could have been me in that situation. My path could have been in a different journey than playing rugby league. And this is where I found a love for rugby league, man, and actually implemented my life in playing rugby league. The hardest thing for me at the time was actually allowing my cousin to go by himself. I felt like a coward. I felt like I belittled him. And I sort of struggled at the time. Sorry. I sort of struggled at the time to try process what was happening. Anyways, they went off. I ran home. My parents and my siblings were asleep, and I just jumped in went straight back to bed. And that's when my life really changed, man. I think at that time, I was like, you know what, I need to focus on something. If I take this journey or this path, is it going to lead me to somewhere good, or am I going to take the rugby league route, where it's going to help my family in the near future? So
big ups to your cousin though, because he could have easily, just being that young. I just remember being that young and all in, one in, one in, all in. Sorry, one in, all in, and usually we go down together. But for your cousin to kind of reach out to you and pretty much just think on the spot, kind of help you and help with the situation was massive, because that, like you mentioned, that turned your life around. You end up making your debut at 18. How was your journey then from that stage, when you talk about what you went through then to be?
My journey was perfect, man. And I had family that cared for me. They helped me, my training. I was trying to make sure in that 4 years that I'd done everything right. And I did my training, my diet, my dietary needs, and I thank my mum for this, because if it wasn't for my mum waking me up at 5 o'clock in the morning to eat my breakfast, come in at 12 o'clock, eat my lunch, and then making my dinner, and I don't think I would have made it that far. So in that 4 year gap, man, I sort of committed myself mentally and physically to try and reach a goal, and I did at the end of it, and I was proud of myself. But when I did get there, man, I think I just stopped when I made the debut. I thought I made it, and I go, I'm here now. I'm gonna stay here forever. But unfortunately, it wasn't me. So I went through injuries, and then when I did go through injuries, it was like my mental health went down, And then when I did come back, I fell back into more injuries
Yeah.
and whatnot. So it led me to a path of like depression and anxiety and stuff. So
Yeah. Now we'll talk about
Yeah.
all the hard work that you've done
Mm.
leading into your debut for Parramatta. Were you 18 when you made your debut?
yeah, 18
18?
at the time. Yeah,
Yeah, so
going on to
you're-
19. Yeah.
You're pretty young then, eh?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
how was that feeling for obviously your
yeah,
parents and your family would have been a proud moment, eh?
Yeah, definitely. I called when I found out on that day I was gonna make my debut. Man, I called my dad straight away,
Yeah.
and I called my mum. But knowing my dad, he's sort of a tough KC. But I know deep down inside he was really proud.
Yeah, yeah.
He just said he was proud of me and whatnot. But I know in his heart he was crying for me because this is what he's been praying for.
Yeah, yeah.
Over the years is for me to play NRL and fulfill what God has given me to do. And just making that debut, it made everything a lot more easier for me. Well, basically my life, the money was good and everything. So yeah, man, it was probably one of my most proud moments.
Yeah.
Getting to achieve that and getting to put the Pauli name out there.
Yeah.
And then trying to make my grandparents proud as well.
Yeah.
And it was awesome achievement for me. So
Yeah, and you made you made your debut for Parramatta. And you just mentioned before all the hard work that you did to get there. But then once you got there, the hard work stopped for you, eh?
yeah, yeah. Once
yeah,
I got there, I just felt like I was on top of the world. I
Yeah.
felt like nobody can take my spot. But little did I know it's business.
Yeah.
When you do have little injuries and all these other things, man, it does play a part in
Yeah.
your mental health. For me, I didn't really commit myself. Once I made it, the dietary went out the window. I wasn't committed to my training anymore, and the coaching staff could see that as well at training, and just everything. One thing for me, man, was when Brad Arthur pulled me in that year, saying what changed. He asked me what's going on with my fitness and stuff like that, and I just said, look, I'm trying my best. But in reality, I wasn't really trying my best.
Yeah.
So I was just happy just being here in the medium. But this is what separates the good from the greats.
Yeah.
You look at guys like Cameron Smith, Billy Slater. They were here, but they were consistent with trying to build and be greater. And that's where I feel. Yeah. I just stayed here on the level. Man, I was talented and everything. Man, I had all the talent. But I just basically wasted it. Man.
I remember you coming into the scene. Like I remember your debut, and I was just thinking, wow, this guy, man, how big he is, but the footwork as well, bro. I was like, man, how can this guy be so big, but have the footwork of like Benji Marshall or QLT?
That's how I've done my knee.
Okay, I think we'll get back to that one.
Nah, but you know,
No,
but
that's
it's
a
good.
powerful lesson, eh?
Yeah, it's good that you mentioned that because a lot of poly boys have that problem. You know, I had that problem as well coming through, where I relied a lot on my talent and I wasn't willing to put in the hard work. And it's good that you mentioned Billy Slater, Cameron Smith, because I was in that environment with those guys. I was coming through, and Billy Slater was coming through, Cooper Cronk. But the difference was the hard work, but not just in a small period, but the hard work they're willing to put in throughout their whole career. And it shows, you know, when you talk about the great players, they're the names that are up there.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's something that we can teach the PIs that are coming through, the Polynesians coming through.
I think it's not just PIs, it's any athlete in general. We share when we get to schools and stuff, like getting to the top of the mountain is the easy part. It's staying up there, you know, being consistent, and you touched on it. You got comfortable, and I can relate to it as well. Like, I remember my first year, 2013, achieved NRL, next year, World Cup, Kiwis, and no one really taught me what next. And, you know, Q touched on it, I remember when we've done the delivery at our business, that, you know, your mountaintop that you overcome becomes a valley to the next mountain. But I wish we had someone, and so when you touch on it, you were someone as well I was looking up to. I was coming through the ranks, and I was like, oh, who's this guy? You know, Pauli. And it's shout out to Sole Akama, Jamie Soward, because I still remember that game when you forget. I was like, wow, who's this guy? Just steaming out the line. Poor Jamie Soward just trying to put people in, the lines in it. All you see is probably 100 miles an hour. No stopping. Also, I was like, wow. And then caught up with Jamie Soward after that, but you were known for that. And I was thinking, oh, who's this guy, man? And he came on the scenes. But it's good that you touch on it, because I know many people can learn off.
Oh, 100%,
when you get there, that's just a start.
Yeah,
go again, eh?
Yeah, definitely.
And so, what do you think, or how did you overcome, or do you think you stayed like that for a while? Because I know you went from there to Newcastle.
Yeah. Nah, man. I think even when I did leave, I was still on that level.
Yeah.
Like I still made it. That was my mentality, and that's where my struggle still went through. From Parramatta to, I felt like I brought my troubles from Parramatta, and then took it to Newcastle. I don't think you remember my career in Newcastle, but it wasn't the best years, man, of my career, man. But just trying to. I'm glad I'm telling this, man, because I know a lot of athletes are going through this right now, and I'm hoping to encourage these guys to, don't sell yourself short. Yeah, I think that's the main thing. Yeah, and because I know a lot of players have a lot of talent. Yeah. But as you go back to what you say, man, talent only goes so far. 100%. Hard work does the rest.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, man, I just took whatever I had at Parramatta, what Brad Arthur had to talk to me about, and where am I lacking and whatnot, and then I just took it to Newcastle, and I just stayed the same way, thinking that I made it.
But you did you have loads of injuries as well?
Yeah, I was going through injuries.
Yeah.
And that as well, including my injuries, and I think my rehab, I had a great rehab team. Yeah. Everyone was perfect, but I think it was just my commitment to the rehab, which sort of set me back. If it wasn't me trying to come back faster, so sort of faking my rehab, saying that I'm a lot better, but really I'm not. Yeah. Or I wasn't seriously just not doing my rehab at all. So I think that was one of my main setbacks, man, is my injuries and how I could have done my rehab a lot better going into the season. So,
what made you come to, because you went from Newcastle, then got sold the dream from one of the boys there to come to Wakefield?
Hey, David.
You want to point out who that guy is, mate?
Davey. I'm name dropping yours.
What's his last name?
Dave Fafita.
Wow. What did you say? 5-star hotel, 5-star facilities.
Sign out Wakefield. You sold me the dream, mate. You told me it was good facilities, and I got the ice bath, the saunas, and everything, mate.
Wow.
Oh, you got me a beauty.
So just on that, man, tell us what happened and how did you feel when you arrived and you see the 5-star hotel.
Oh, but I was happy that I was coming to England. But because Davey sold me the dream, I was like,
did you have any interest from any other NRL teams?
Salford.
Oh, okay. Or what, any NRL teams?
Oh, NRL. I was in talks with Gold Coast at the time.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't know if you were in talks with Gold Coast.
It might have been similar times. What year was that?
2017.
It would have been similar times.
Yeah.
Oh, but then Salford came in and Wakefield came in.
Wakefield, came in. But I was initially going to sign with Salford.
Yeah.
And then Wakey, Davey sold me the dream about Wakey.
Yeah.
Messaged me saying to sign with Wakefield. So I was like, yeah, sweet. Eventually, the time that I left, I was excited, man. I was like, man, I'm coming to England, somewhere I've never been before. Yeah. And I'm gonna whanga it over here. And I'm gonna enjoy it. Landed, got here, Chesy picked me up, took me to my apartment. Took me to my apartment. I stayed there. And I think I had training on that Tuesday. I think it was the following day. I was excited because I woke up 3 o'clock in the morning because you know the time difference. Yeah. And I stayed up the rest of that morning. And then Chesy turned up at 7 o'clock, I think, come pick me up. Ooh. On the way, hey. Service. First class service. Hey. Pick me up, and then we got to training, and I was like, hey, is this where we're training? Yeah, mate, this is the facilities at Featherstone.
Oh, baby.
Oh, okay. I walked inside, so it was a middle barn, I was like, Solly. And then I spoke to Davey the day after. I was like, Solly, you got me, man. You got me a beauty, man. Told me it was a nice facility, and then I turn up here and it's a farm paddock there.
The horses and cows. But Solly, I think, I appreciate sharing that. Because I feel like it's important we do touch on it. Because I remember again when I mentioned I was following your journey, I thought that was the end of you because you know if you're comfortable of sharing, there was a time when you got into an accident, eh? Because I want to hear that mindset because you go from there. Obviously, maybe is that while you're in Newcastle?
Yeah,
What was the mentality coming here? Because a lot of people were talking about, I was like, man, the accident you have and the injuries you had to overcome, and then see you come back on the field.
Yeah.
What?
At that time, man, I think it was I bought a new car. I bought a new car that day, and I was driving it back home to go sort of show off, well, not show off, but just to show my parents.
Yeah.
You know, I've done something for myself. So I took that car home, and my sister, my two brothers, and my little niece wanted to come to Newcastle with me because the other car was at Newcastle at the time. We jumped in the car, and then we got onto the motorway. I think a lot of people will know about the story. It was on the news and everything, man, what happened. But I was driving on the motorway to go towards Newcastle. What's that long motorway that goes to Newcastle?
M62, I think.
M1.
M666. But yeah, man, I got there, man, and it was pissing down rain, man. It was heavily raining. But I was in the fast lane. But I was driving at 110 kilometers an hour, which is the speed limit at the thing. But there was a car sort of following me at the back, and he was just beeping his horn and whatnot. So I was like, oh, sweet. I'm not going to move because it's raining and we're going around the bend. I think he followed me for about 2 minutes, just tailgating me. And then as we came around the bend, he hit me. He hit me, man, and spun, and I hit the wall on the left. And then I spun out and then hit the wall on the right. But that car, man, he sped off. He left us. Wow. He left us, man. So we ended up on that wall, but it was sort of on the third lane. You know, the fast lane.
Yeah.
But because it's around the bend, none of the cars could see. Anyways, man, we finally stopped, man. I can hear my brother's crying at the back. My sister's crying at the front. At this point, man, she's already broken, what's that bone here? In her leg.
It's a lot.
You know. It's at a fibula or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that. Broke her tooth. Cracked her eye. My brother Jerry done his collarbone. Broke his collarbone, and my brother Christian, his spine. I think he was C2 or C3. Cracked his spine, man. But that wasn't the end of it, man, because another car came and smacked into our seat.
Yeah.
So that pushed us against the wall, man, and then I think there was another three cars smacking into each other, and another car smacked into us, but he flew out the window. It was an old man. I don't know how he survived, man, but no, we're grateful that he did, man.
Yeah.
Well, at that time, man, I was just like, man, just praying to God, man. I'm like, man, just keep us alive. Make sure that you look after my family, man. I don't, at that time, man, my mentality was, man, if I die, let me die.
Yeah.
But don't let my family suffer, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
No, man,
It's a tough one. Yeah, appreciate you sharing that also.
Yeah.
It's a tough one, man.
Yeah, man. And then my journey going on from that.
And what
Finally
happened
got
to you?
the hospital. I popped my hip.
Yeah.
Funny story, it was stuck on my nut.
That's massive.
That's why the choppers. That's why the short falling down.
Yeah. But I thank God, man, every day for this, man, because the only person that didn't get hurt was my niece. I think she was 2 or 3 at the time.
It's all what a blessing, man.
And man, it was just a massive blessing. And I give massive props. I still don't know their name or which family it is, but I just want to say thank you for that time, for looking after my niece while we're all in the ambulance and stuff. We're grateful for taking my niece home as well.
Yeah.
And being able to look after my niece while we're going through a lot of struggles, man. Anyways, man, we all ended up in the hospital. I think I was in hospital for about a week or so. My sister was in a different hospital, and my other 2 brothers were in a different one. Eventually, man, we made our way back home all together.
Yeah.
And man, it was probably the most emotional I've ever been, man. Just being able to see my family again. I haven't seen them for about 2 weeks, a week or two, man. And to have that thought in the back of my head that I could have killed my family, man. That would have all been on me.
Yeah.
And I would have struggled with that if one of them had passed. But man, I really am truly blessed, man, to still be alive and still be here with my family and whatnot. So not long after we got back together, man, I don't think I was at home for too long. I think I was at home for about 2 weeks. 2 weeks, and then I ended up going back to Newcastle.
Yeah.
Newcastle to start my comeback, basically my journey to come back and play. I think I did everything right, man. My rehab, my dietary plan, and everything. And thanks again to the rehab crew at Newcastle, man, who got me back in 8 weeks.
Back playing?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Wow.
When it was supposed to be a 3-4 month injury.
Yeah.
That's when we thought it was done.
Yeah, man.
But that's massive props to you for that as well. Like, because not only the physical pain that you're going through and the injuries, the mental scars would have been the worst thing to overcome. Because like you said, man, like anything could have happened that day. And like when you talk about the crash, it sounded like, because I didn't see it on the news, but it sounded like, man, someone was looking down on you. God was looking down on you when it happened, and you can still see the emotion when you talk about it, because it was a tough thing to go through. But shucks, man, what a journey it was, and for you to come back after 8 weeks and to play as well.
Hats off to you. You talk about counting your blessings there. Because you touched on, I remember I was in New Zealand at the time and it came on the news.
Yeah.
That's what I was like, fine. I don't know whether that was the end of your career and for you to come back 8 weeks. But bro, massive hats. Counting your blessings. God is good, eh? But you touched on, your journey from para. So you're going through, your eternal battles mentally, and then this happens, and then you're going with Newcastle. So do you feel like making the move from Newcastle here to the UK, you still battling with this, and then promise the 5-star hotel and stuff from there? Do you feel like that's carried on to your journey still, or where is it?
Not at this present time. I'll still have it at the back of my head, these moments, but it's far away now from me. Yeah. And I have a beautiful partner and 2 beautiful kids that I can look towards if I need the help and whatnot. But that journey from Newcastle to coming here wasn't an easy one, because at that time after coming back, man, I think I played 3-4 games, and then another injury occurred. Yeah. When that injury occurred, I think Mickey Paya for his prayers and his loving over me at that time, because at that point I was struggling. Yeah. And that's when I fell into deep depression. Yeah. And anxiety. And I decided at that point, I was like, man, if I take my life now, it would be a lot more easier for everyone else, to not look after me anymore, not take care of me anymore. Would it be much easier? Funny enough, man, it was in the car when I was going at about 190 kilometers an hour. Oh, right. And I was going in the car 200 kilometers an hour. I was like, if I take my life now, would everyone be happier?
Is this while you're at Newcastle?
Yeah, while I was at Newcastle.
Because I want to, thank you for sharing that. And I feel like it's important that you share that, and man, the strength that you're showing and sharing that as well, being vulnerable, is massive. And you come over to the UK, you go to Wakefield, then you go to Salford. But do you feel like the scars are still there? Like you're going through a lot of those feelings when you come to the UK?
2 years prior from today, I was. Don't get me wrong, man. Like when you have stuff like that, man, that you've been going through, it's always going to be in the back of your head, man. It's not going to disappear. You're always going to have them thoughts and whatnot. But again, I'm grateful for the partner that I got. Yeah. Who taught me how to be vulnerable. I think that was something that I had to learn on the way. Keisha's probably been the main key to why I'm being able to be vulnerable and to speak, because I know from the start of our relationship it wasn't healthy.
Yeah.
Shout out to Keisha.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really a good one for me and Keisha at that time. But yeah, coming into the UK, man, I just thought moving away from my family and everyone else just to let me be an independent.
Yeah.
That's what I thought was the best option for me, which probably was the wrong decision. Because playing for Wakey, it was awesome. Had some problems there at Wakefield. Come to Salford, had a great first year. I think that was probably my best year over the last 7-8 years. And then that following year at Salford, I don't want to blame anyone else bar myself, but my performances and whatnot. But on that time, man, this is when the second time it hit me, man. Anxiety, depression, and suicide. Just a little backstory on that, man. Like on the last 4 games, man, I was supposed to play for Salford on my last year, and I didn't get picked. I didn't get picked to play for any 4 of them games. But the last one I was promised to play their last game, and come captain's run, he turned me down.
Yeah.
Straight after that day, man, I went to B&Q, man, and I found me a rope. Cutting onions, man.
Yeah, good. Just take your time, Moose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found a rope, and then I drove and I looked for a tree, and everything was done. I tied the rope, got everything done. Had the rope around my neck, and just as I was about to jump, man, I thank God for this, man, because he put my son in my mind, because again, I was selfish.
Hello. Just you sharing the story was such a powerful thing, man, because I only heard this story a couple of weeks ago, and I remember you telling it, and just for the first time when I heard it, I started to get emotional myself, because I've only we've become close to the last 2 years, but just to hear one of the Usos, who's been in that much pain that felt like that was the only way out, was a tough thing to hear. But it's awesome that the courage that you have to be able to tell the story, but also the blessing that you went through at the time, where God saved you, putting Effie and Ophelia in your mind, and kind of made you rethink, what you were going through at the time. And I truly thank God for that, because things could have been different, and this is why we started Talk Your Walk, is to help those who feel like they're alone, and to let them know that whatever you're going through, that you're never alone, and which hence the check-in becomes important, the being vulnerable becomes important. Also, thank you for sharing those.
No,
It's powerful. I think just on top of what you shared as well, it's creating that safe space, for people to feel, vulnerable and comfortable to share and open up, in the hopes that, to inspire people that they don't have to feel like they're alone.
Yeah.
Even sometimes just being there to be heard and listening to. Massive hats to you also, because, man, what a journey. From Para, you're carrying it all here, and then on top of what you went through, and then, the experiences you had at, Wakey, Salford, and then injuries on top of that. Couldn't imagine, the mountain that you must have been facing there.
Yeah, no, 100%, man.
So what do you feel like when you're going through those moments, what steps did you take forward, or what was the thought process then?
I think the first step was being able to talk.
Yeah. Yeah. 100% also. And being able to reach out, like you spoke about it just before, being able to talk to Keisha about, about what you're going through, because that's your soulmate, isn't it? Like, when you're going through something, your wife's the one that you reach out to first, because, like I said, that's your soulmate. And you mentioned it before, if it wasn't for her to help you to become vulnerable, because we went through the same problem when it comes to vulnerability. That's something that we're not used to, eh? It's something that we shy. It's a skill. We shy away from 100%. it.
Yeah, I think that was the first step that I took. I think it took me about 2 weeks before I told Keisha.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for it though, because I think that's where I learned how to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, man. Our relationship was still rocky, but Keisha was still there for me.
Yeah.
Even at my lowest.
Yeah.
She was there to still pick me up. My son was there too. Probably the best decision I'd never made.
Yeah.
Is doing it, man. It's probably I'm so grateful for life now. Yeah. And what I have in store for my kids, imagine if I did take my life, man. Where would my kids be? Leaving my partner behind, fatherless. Having my kids looking up to no one, bar mum. I mean, it would have been a tough situation, man. I think at that time I just felt like I was alone. But being able to speak is hence the reason why I'm here today.
Yeah.
Being able to open up. But the first step was being able to overcome that boundary by saying how you feel.
Yeah.
Speaking about how you feel. Because as men and women, that's what we struggle with the most.
Yeah.
Is speaking. And then we struggle with that mentally as well.
Yeah.
Even to this day, I still struggle to talk, but I don't have a problem of going to Keisha or going to you and talking about my problems now. If you told me this 2 years ago, I wouldn't speak to you guys, man. We wouldn't even be in this situation right now, man, if I wasn't vulnerable. So that's why I said, man, I thank God every day and grateful for the last 2 years, man. Because from then up until now, it's been the best 2 years of my life, man. Just from taking one step, which is speaking.
That's awesome to hear also. And thanks again, man, for sharing this. That's a prime example only around the mental health space, but people see Pauli or, 8 foot big chopper and they're thinking, man, he's strong on the outside, eh?
Yeah.
Barnstorming runs, damaging on the field. But no, it's the inside stuff, and that's, again, just trying to promote that, to create that safe space that you just never know what, someone's going through. Because I know when I first met you as well, man, actually, most kind-hearted spirit, good energy,
Gentle giant, eh?
Yeah, and that's, and it's, sometimes that can be in disguise sometimes, eh? Thanks heaps also, and then you go from there to Donny now, eh?
Yeah, from there to Donny.
Like, what's that journey been like now? Like, you touched on the
man.
2 years.
Yeah, man, it's been a good one, man. I know I've had some trials with York.
Yeah.
But the most proud moment of when I was going through all this is I never had any thoughts or any anxiety or depression. I knew how to deal with it.
Yeah.
And with the help of Keisha. Thanks again, Bub, for always being there. And being able to process all that mentally. And then being able to lean on Keisha to help me mentally, if you get what I mean. Like,
100%.
Having someone to be there for my support. So from not only just Keisha, man, like you guys, you have played a massive part on my journey as well, man, over these last 2 years, man. And I'm grateful for you guys as well, man, because without you guys, man, I wouldn't be able to go through this season the way that I'm going through it now. And it's been a very helpful and happy couple of years, man. So,
wow, that's awesome to hear. And just want to mention, like, as rugby players, it's something that we still need to work on, because we train so hard during the week to play 80 minutes on the weekend to be these warriors, to not let the opposition get over you, to physically be stronger than the opposition. But we often take that into the real life, the outside world, and that's something that we need to change. And like, man, just you being here telling your story, that'll be massive, man. That'll be massive for those who are struggling, those who are going through the same thing. That just being able to speak up and know that you're never alone is massive. And I thank you for that also.
Yeah,
just
appreciate that, eh?
just also like just bit of just one thing. If you could go back and give yourself a tap on the shoulder and give yourself advice, in what you're going through, what advice would you give yourself if you're able to do that?
If I was able to go back, man, I'll tap myself on the shoulder and tell myself, be happy with life.
Yeah.
Because life is too short.
Yeah.
Lean on your people.
Yeah.
Lean on your siblings, partners, friends, whoever it is, man. Just talk, be vulnerable.
Yeah.
That's solid also.
No.
I appreciate you sharing that also. Apologize in case I do miss it. Thanks for sharing again. You go pretty deep. You're sort of, overcoming things now. Do you want to touch on, obviously, congrats again, debut podcast, but you made a debut appearance for us as well. Do you want to touch on briefly what that experience was like for you? Obviously sharing for the first time, or, we went to the school and it was a touchy subject, eh?
Yeah,
Do you
man.
wanna just wanna...
Yeah, definitely. There's, it was tough, making my debut in front of many people and talking about my story, because not many people knew at this time.
Yeah.
So it went from 6 people to then 100 to 200
500
people.
now.
Yeah.
500 also
You get what I
together,
mean?
man.
You got what I mean? So just that is a win for me.
Yeah.
Just being able to express myself. Again, if you told me to do that 2 years ago,
Yeah.
I'll be nodding my head. As you know very well, the first 3 years I was here, I never spoke to any of you guys, man, other than text. But the last 2 years, man, we've been, having lunches and dinners and whatever. And that's just a massive improvement of where my mental health is going. But just being able to speak in front of the school and then making my debut on the podcast, it's
Things aren't going that way.
yeah, everything's going up. But man, I have no fear to speak in front of people and tell my story. Yeah. Because if this can save one life, it says in the Bible, man, he left the 99 for the one. Yeah. And if I can save one person, that's my main goal here today. So.
100%. And just to finish off, can you just share, because being at that school, we had the chance to walk around and interact with a lot of the kids during lunchtime. But there was one moment where a student approached you to asking for your opinion on something.
Yeah, would you like to share on that?
It was pretty powerful.
She came up to you first.
I feel like this needs to be shared.
Yeah. And I was, firstly, man, shout out to, Home to School for giving us the opportunity, because I think this is the first experience in anything of being involved in speaking engagements, going in and touching on, religious studies. Yeah. It was a touchy topic.
Too much chop on you.
Water, yeah?
Touchy topic.
It was a touchy topic, eh? Because we had to think of it hard, eh? I was like, man, because we don't take it lightly, especially to speak in front of kids. We're passionate, we believe in that's the next generation. But the subjects, or resurrection, what is Trinity, salvation, Trinity. Say the other two ones just to test if you
omnipotence.
Yeah, nice.
Omnibenevolence.
Oh,
you know why Sue said that?
He doesn't want to say
it. Oh, he's done his homework, but this was a big one. So we took it on board. We came together. But when we shared and we got deep in the message, sometimes you don't know if the kids responded or anything, eh? Yeah. And so it was we delivered to, I think it was 200 students all up. It was at lunchtime when we walked out to go say hi to the students, that one particular student came up to me while you were all talking into the bunch, and he tapped me on the shoulder and says, "Can I ask you a question?" And because we got deep when we were in the hall and we were talking about, what faith and, what Jesus Christ means in our journey and how we apply it to our daily lives now. And she goes, the question, and it hit me too, pretty deep as well. She goes, as a, transgender, like, what's your view on me? And I had to think long and hard about how I answer that. But I told her straight just from the get-go. I was like, look, I love you no different than anybody else. You know, I didn't. Who am I to judge you? You know, I shared my journey on how God took me out of the pit and took me out from, you know, being in the prison cell to here. So who am I to judge you? You know, I love you. You know, God loves you, and then so forth. And then, you know, she took it in message because she thought, you know, I was going to judge her through, you know, having my own Christian views. I was like, no, there's no judgment here. I love you no different than anyone else. But it would be awesome for you to hear, you know, Pauli's perspective on it. And that's when I tapped you on the shoulder to come. And that's why, again, massive hats off to the person that came up and tapped me, because that takes courage, you know. And she didn't feel comfortable to put her hand up when we had a Q&A opportunity in the hall. She felt that she would have been judged. So the fact she came up, hats off, you know, that takes courage to ask the question. And then that's when it goes to you. And
Do you just want to share what you had to say as well?
No, basically the same thing.
Yeah.
No, I don't love her no different than anyone else.
Yeah.
That's what I said to her.
Yeah.
Jesus died on the cross for everyone. Yeah. But your journey is your journey.
Yeah.
My journey is my journey. But all we can do is, you know, go through what you think is right. And basically just telling her, man, look, we still love you the same way.
Yeah.
You know, transgender or not, you know, Jesus died for everyone. So
that's it, man. No, thank you for sharing that, because I just feel like that story needed to be told. You know, for her to approach us and ask us the question, as well, that had to take a lot of courage. But I saw the way she walked away, because I wasn't at the conversation. I was talking to other students, but you could just see the smile on her face from after she spoke to you, and then her walking away with her friend. That's why we do it, eh? You know, that's why we do it, and it touches different when we go and talk to the schools and the next generation, and we're able to help them with their journey. It touches different. So
I just want to give Sui massive props on it too. Just from him sharing his journey from nothing to something.
Yeah. I'm sick of hearing his journey. I went to jail.
And then the kid going up to Sui to have that chat. That's a win in itself. And the reason why, go back to what you said, and the reason why we do it.
Yeah.
You know, helping these kids, because obviously mental health starts at a young age.
Yeah.
And that's something as Pacific Islanders we didn't know at the time growing up. All we got was the tough love and go luffy in the boku and start doing the old boxing matches there. Come here, dude.
that's why I let you want to.
But it's massive props to Sui, man, for, you know, taking his time, man. And I know it would have been a tough one to think, man, to have a chat about. But man, just by the spirit there, man, I'm just so grateful for that opportunity, for having that conversation with her, because you know, just in that position there, it could have changed her life in that one spot, man.
100%, man, 100%.
Like you said, it's not about the 99, but the one.
But the one.
That's awesome that we got to link up with you. It was a blessing, you know, to hear your journey and to see you share. Natural, it was born for it.
Solid born for it, man.
A
few little, hiccups with the vocabulary, but we won't mention anything because Sui's pretty. He's bad at it, but
I'm still half asleep, man.
But yeah, again, man, thank you for coming, Us, and
thanks for having me.
Can't wait to get this out there, because loads of people are gonna, become, inspired by your stories, and that's. Man, because I was inspired when I heard it as well. So thank you also for coming, and let's talk your walk.
Yeah, malo.